It's very turned up. It's actually not going to be that fun too, and we still have that high risk of dangerous rip currents, moderate as we get into tomorrow, but there's going to be beautiful beach weather. We head to Elmsford, or really anywhere you want to be, it's going to be nice weather. We still are on track to maybe perhaps in some areas start a heat wave early in the week, but I'll talk about the cool down that comes along with our next round of showers and storms, all in the 10-day.
Thanks, Maria.
Really busy, and it's right on cue. This is peak time. In fact, September 1st, as we get into the next week and week and a half or so, we will be at the peak for the season, which means we still have 50% to go, which is definitely sobering thought. But as we look across the Atlantic, we have a couple of areas where there's potential for development. We, of course, have Tropical Storm Jose, Franklin as well, still hurricane, and post-tropical cyclone Idalia. So what that means is starting to lose maybe a few of its tropical characteristics. But here's the crazy thing. It kind of winds around Bermuda and may gain at times back some of the tropical characteristics, could become a tropical storm again. And then we certainly have to keep an eye on it, because it does show some of the models anyway, trying to make a run for the East Coast again before a front by the end of the week here sweeps that out. So that timing is something that we'll be watching very carefully. All right, but here, just time out a perfect day, because it's from start to finish really pleasant. 63 degrees out the door. That dew point's in the 40s. There is like no humidity in the air. Really lovely. We've got 77 degrees for the high, a light northeast wind from time to time. Of course, keeping an eye on the coast, still that risk of dangerous rip currents today. But again, nice and calm tonight. Temperatures dropping into the 50s from White Plains and Sussex, Poughkeepsie, a few 40s to the north and the west. Will be about 60 in the city. But we are headed to a hot week next week. It's certainly the first half of it, including Labor Day holiday, up to 90 degrees with all of that humidity. So that means the heat index will be an issue for many who will be heading back to school too. It's going to be warm at the bus stop, warm in the classroom. And again, that official tally for August, 0 90-degree days. And I think we may be able to add at least one into next week for September, which is average for the month. But it does, we still have dangerous rip currents and rough surf. And even in through tomorrow, it's going to ease up a little bit. But weather-wise, it's just going to keep going. Livingston at 75 today by 2 o'clock, Hempstead in the 70s, Norwalk as well. I'll show you how quickly we get closer to 90 and then how quickly we get back to the 70s in the 10-day. Water too, for different reasons, a bit of the rough surf that we've been talking about. Let's hit up Long Island, Hampton Bays, Fire Island, Montauk. Things should start to ease a bit as far as the rough surf. Not so much maybe tomorrow, but as the weekend goes on, high pressure is really going to help us out in that department. And certainly weather-wise, we have no worries whatsoever. Just remember the sunscreen. Temperatures in the 70s on Saturday. We start to edge closer to 80 degrees by the time we get to Sunday. So nice across the area for the next several days. By the way, we have Idalia, which is now a post-tropical cyclone. We'll still have to keep an eye on Idalia, kind of meandering in the Atlantic near Bermuda, and wants to make a little bit of a jog closer to the coast as we get to the end of the week. But that next front coming the end of the week is going to do a lot of work. It's going to keep Idalia out of here. It's going to cut the heat and bring our next chance for some showers and storms. But in the meantime, just lovely. It's a nice breeze on the plaza right now. The lights are on for the Today Show. We have Darius Rucker taking the stage later on this morning. 63 degrees out the door right now. That magic number, dew point at 44. It's incredibly dry, adding to that crisp feel out there. 77 degrees, tons of sunshine. Yeah, it is September 1st. Maybe some pumpkin spice time if that's your thing. Overnight tonight, it is going to be on the cool side again. Patchogue down to 57 degrees. 52 in New Paltz. We'll get down to about 52 in Warwick. Parsippany also into the low 50s. And if you're heading down toward Jackson or Seaside Park, Asbury Park, mid and upper 50s for lows. Bayonne near 60, will be about 62 in the city. So obviously looking good for the rest of the weekend, just kind of re-emphasizing that by Monday. Again, the heat starts to build. By the way, September 1st is the start of meteorological fall this time of year. Average highs are into the low 80s. We're really not going to see that once we get past decision, so we don't know what's going on here, but it looks pretty, and you see the sheen from that bright moon out there. So we have crystal clear skies. Norwalk, Connecticut at 56, headed into the 70s, and that northeast wind all headed close to 90 for several days next week. Timing out though that next cool down and the next rain chance as well on the 10-day.
All right, thanks.
When you talk about the amount of rainfall, there were areas that got up to 10 inches of rain in 6 hours. 10 inches of rain would be a lot for maybe 2 or 3 months in some spots, but that's exactly what Ida brought. So along with that, there were a number of tornadoes. And again, just a statistic here, it's a 1 in a 1,000 year probability, which is not that we expect it one every 1,000 years, but per day. it's a crazy low chance of that happening. So it was really something 2 years ago. It's amazing. But you look at the Atlantic Basin and it is active. We have a lot of areas to keep an eye on. We still have Hurricane Franklin, and now we have post-tropical storm Idalia, which means that it has lost some of its tropical characteristics and maybe gaining some again over the next few days. So we'll still be watching it. This will be impacting Bermuda for a couple days. Squally weather, large swells too, and then maybe trying to make a little nudge toward the coast as we get into the end of next week. I know, so we've got to keep an eye on it still. But what will definitely help out is this front that's going to be tracking in through our area by the end of the week. So a lot going on the next few days. Happy to report not much happening now. So you're getting this gorgeous, gorgeous view of the nearly full moon. It's bright and beautiful, and you can see all of the craters. And so take a peek outside. It is lovely. 63 degrees outside, in fact, and that dew point's all the way down into the mid-40s. So dry, dry air, crystal clear visibility. And so once the moon gives way to all of that sunshine, 77 degrees by 3 o'clock. Pick whatever you're doing today and enjoy it, including the Mariners versus the Mets. Great baseball weather, a little on the cool side. We'll be in the upper 60s by the time the game wraps up, down to 62 overnight, and we are still on track for a lovely Labor Day, not just here, but across the region, and still on track to hit 90 on Monday and all of that humidity. So it's going to be several.
Use these types of storms, but this particular area was not hit as hard previously before.
Yeah, and every storm is different, even in areas that get them frequently. But to Idalia, believe it or not, the spin is right there. So lacking thunderstorms, now a post-tropical cyclone. We're definitely in the clear, both with skies and precipitation, but taking you to next week, trying to find some precipitation. After that, maybe more rain in that forecast. I'll show you in the 10-day system. But this was happening in South Carolina hours after landfall and inland. So it just goes to show you that even when it's not at Category 3 strength, there's still so many high-end impacts of tropical systems. So we continue to feel the tug of Franklin, believe it or not, still a hurricane with the swells. Today, increasing that rip current risk and some heavy surf. But otherwise, we have high pressure building in, and that's going to do a lot of things. It's going to obviously keep us dry, keep us sunny, but also going to relax the winds, push Franklin out of here, and eventually that surf gets a little bit more manageable. So by the time we get toward the end of the holiday weekend, we can enjoy the summer heat at the beach a little bit more relaxed. However, also want to point out that Idalia, right now post-tropical cyclone, kind of hovering around Bermuda, is going to try maybe make a little nudge off to the north and west, believe it or not, by the middle of next week. Timing is perfect, though. We've got another front coming on by that will likely guide anything out of here, but we'll watch it very closely. But between now and that next front, it's all about the heat building. Today, though, it is picture perfect, and if you're going to spend some time at Coney Island, it's going to be lovely. 63 degrees out there right now. Still a brisk northeast flow, about 14 miles per hour, but that dew point way, way low, so visibility is good. The skies are clear. It's really dry. Temperatures climbing up to about 70 degrees near lunchtime, 77 for the high. And again, September 1st, we are welcoming meteorological fall. And we've got a taste of it tonight. Down to 62 degrees, north and west, a bit of a chill from Clinton, Sussex, Poughkeepsie in the low 50s, Monticello 49, and from Islip to Belmar, temperatures getting down into the mid 50s. So again, just confirming for you, the weekend's looking good. Monday, we see those temperatures climb up near 90 degrees, humidity's going along with it. And again, we are still looking at, as we start early September, most of the country looking at temperatures above average. And this time of year, they're starting
Rise there, Maria, by Jones Beach, courtesy of Miles Miller, and you've got some beautiful views too.
Yeah, absolutely. We head to Suffolk County, Montauk right now via Earth Cam. Still a little bit rough. You've got the Earth shadow and the moon right there. So still looking at surf in that 3 to 5 foot range, and of course those northeast winds driving that. So rough rip currents, and that risk is high today again. So we'll take a look at the beach forecast for you through the weekend, and our next chance for some rain. We're going to wait a bit in that 10-day forecast. Thanks. Really starting in June, going through September, and you can see it's ongoing. The rough weather in parts of Arizona right now. All the red boxes you see are those flash flood warnings. This is going to be one of the tougher travel spots here over the next few days, along with the southeast, where we still have some showers and thunderstorms due to a boundary, not tropical weather. Believe it or not, somewhere down there we have post-tropical storm Idalia, so sort of losing its punch for sure. But it'll be meandering off the coast, and that's the key around Bermuda for the next several days. Meanwhile, between now and Monday, we have high pressure building in and those temperatures climbing. So we're still on track to see some pretty hot weather. It's not just high temperatures, but also high humidity. That doesn't get wiped out until the end of the week. And believe it or not, we may still be talking about Idalia by the end of the week, and some form here may be trying to make a little jog closer to the coast, but this front's definitely going to help us out in that regard. It's also going to help bring those temperatures down, wipe out the humidity, and bring back a chance for showers and storms. Not this weekend. Any travel for the Labor Day holiday or just sticking around, it is going to be nice. Sunshine by Monday. We're looking at temperatures near 90 in the city, mid and upper 80s in Boston, but heading to the south from Philadelphia, even Pittsburgh, D.C., you'll already be into the mid and even some upper 90s by Sunday into Monday. And on top of that, we talk a lot about the high temperatures. It's going to be pretty warm in the mornings too come Monday, but as kids head back to school at the bus stop too, it's going to start to be pretty mild again with temperatures even overnight going to be above average. But looks great right now. A stunning view into lower Manhattan. We've got 62 degrees, nice and dry, very, very comfortable. We'll see by 2 o'clock about 75 degrees, and you guessed it, clear skies. Winds will start to ease up a bit as we get into this evening. So another sort of cool, crisp overnight. North and west 40s and 50s. We'll dip to about 62.
Look at the weather around our 5 boroughs.
Yeah, it can't be better than this, especially for early September, right? It's a little on the cool side from Brooklyn at 62, same in Queens. We've dipped into the 50s, Staten Island, 62, clear skies in the Bronx. We do have that humidity coming way back up, and that means for kids headed back to school next week, it's going to feel more like summer. I'll track the cool down, though, coming up in the 10-day. All right. Reasons as we get into the weekend, high pressure's building in, so the wind's not as much of a factor, and the wind direction's changing, which is also going to be somewhat helpful. But we're getting all of the tropical systems to get a little bit farther offshore, including Franklin, which eventually will be in the North Atlantic over the next couple days. We will actually be watching Idalia over the next, believe it or not, still talking about it probably into the middle of next week, perhaps coming back as a tropical storm. This will be affecting Bermuda, you can see, even through Monday, and maybe trying to make a little run closer to the coast here by the middle to the end of next week. So we definitely will keep a close eye on it. Otherwise, the next thing we'll be watching after high pressure and the heat will be this cold front, and that's going to kind of reset everything back to maybe not the last blast of summer, maybe closer to early September. But yeah, we definitely have a really nice last blast of summer. Labor Day weekend forecast for you. Perfect. 80 degrees tomorrow. Start to get a little stickier on Sunday, and then it's hot and humid on Monday, where that heat index will be an issue. And it is going to take until the end of the week to kind of get that wiped out. But in the meantime, yeah, it's going to be a nice weekend all across the region. So if you're doing any traveling, hitting the road, the air, certainly across the region, we're in great shape. But everywhere from Boston and definitely D.C. and Philadelphia, you'll already be pushing into the 90s by Sunday. It is going to be a hot one. But we love this sunshine right now coming through the skyline as we look from Jersey City. 62 degrees out the door right now. The dew point's low, still a bit of a breeze, so maybe a little bit of a jacket. And don't forget the shades and the sunscreen, right? 1 p.m. temperature, 73 degrees, on our way up to a high of 77. So very, very comfortable. Will be a cool and crisp evening, and definitely overnight once more. 62 for the low in the city, but lots of 40s and 50s outside the city. And if you're planning tomorrow, yeah, plan on warmth and perfection. 80 degrees at Central Park. We'll be in the 70s, though, a little closer to the coast from Islip.